have questions, comments, and concerns. Yes, ma'am.
So what do you think you accomplished?
Our biggest accomplishment is making them do their job. Our mayor, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and everybody else who involved needs to work on to see whether or not we can get accepted to these schools, whether or not we will get our scholarships. Now they actually have to do their job instead of just going on vacation.
So are you going to continue this lead and what's going to happen from here on out?
We haven't discussed that yet, but we will have an answer shortly after this.
Somebody can put into words for me. I've heard all the students say that they think it's unfair because you might be impacted by your college admission or your financial scholarships. But what about the basis of why the state might take over the district? If the state feels that they need to take it over to help improve the school district's performance, do you disagree that the school district doesn't need the improvement?
I disagree. I think we need a lot of improvement, but what exactly is he improving? You're taking the students from one learning environment to the next. You're improving the learning environment, but you're not replacing brains. If a student is coming into a school with a closed mind, they don't want to be there, they're not going to be willing to learn. So you're not going to raise anything, you're not going to raise test scores. What you're really going to do is make a profit from us being in your charter schools.
If the mayor wanted us to improve so much, he would be giving us money to make us improve. If the mayor isn't giving us the money we need, therefore, we don't have what we need in our schools.
How many of you are seniors? Okay. I'm going to give you my card. I'm president of the Greater St. Louis chapter of Alabama University, and I've carried some of you there. And if you have a problem getting into a college, see me.
Thank you very much. Wrap up here. Any more
Yes.
questions?
You guys wanted an apology from Mayor Slay, right?
Yes, we do.
Do you feel as though you might owe him or any other adult an apology for any of the things?
No, what have we done that was wrong? This is our building. We paid for this building to be lit. We pay for everything in this building. Taxes pays for this building.
Taxpayers' money.
We haven't done anything wrong.
This is a public place. It's not private. So anyone is entitled to come in and out of this building. I feel that we don't owe any adults an apology because we haven't been disrespectful and we haven't damaged anyone. We've been very respectful in trying to get our point across.
And if we were in some kind of situation to apologize, I don't think nobody behind her will have a problem apologizing at all.
And again, he's our mayor. We should be able to come to him if we needed anything.
And why should we apologize for something that the First Amendment guarantees us?
Yes, sir.
What specifically do you expect to accomplish when you go to the city?
I think he had a question over here. I'm sorry about that.
Albert Jackson mentioned the massive cuts in the funding that's coming down under this plan. How does it affect you in the classroom? Particularly, you mentioned class size. I know that lots of teachers organizations advocate smaller class sizes as the way to fundamentally deal with this problem. But it looks like that there would be staff cuts and larger class size. How does that affect you, Oliver and Emily and some of the other students up there who maybe respond? Larger class size. Also,
The first question about the budget cuts, when you increase class sizes, that takes away from the teacher-to-student ratio, so we really won't be able to learn.
It's already overcrowded in some of our schools, in some of our high schools. So therefore, if they close so many schools, that means more students will have to come to the schools that are open. That means there'll be more students in the classrooms, more students in the hallways, more students in case of fire, anything. It's going to be too overcrowded with not enough teachers, not enough qualified people to educate us.
For your second question, Why would they add more minutes? Why? For what reason?
What do you personally think that would benefit?
Well, there's a state legislature named Jeff Smith that thinks the school day should be expanded 90 minutes. And do you think it would be better to expand the school day or to reduce the class size and keep the same school day?
Reduce the class size and keep the same school day.
Okay. Ma'am, your question?
Yeah, I know that, City Hall didn't necessarily condone you all skipping school, so other adults would say it's a lesson in activism that you're other things. Can you share some of the things that you've learned from this experience thus far?
That in order for things to change, you have to stay with the fight. So no matter what they were saying about us not being in school, that by being here, we will not get into any trouble for skipping school or for not even skipping, for leaving school. But there's nothing that's going to ever change if we just always give up the fight. So by all of us being here during school hours or after school hours, even during our spring break, it says that we are ready for a change and that we're going to fight it through.
We also learned that the media is biased. Not everything that they say is correct. We also learned that politics is all about democracy.
I'd like to add to that note because like the media would come in with smiles on their face, and we would see one thing, and like when the news come on at night, we would see like a totally different story, like we were in two different buildings.
And also, when we did get locked in the back room after the meeting with the mayor, we were screaming out the window to Channel 2, I think it was, that we were stuck in the room. And then it was reported that we were screaming out bad things about the mayor, which is not. And then we were trying to jump out the window, which is not what we were trying to do.
So we just want to clarify that. Any more questions?
What do you feel is the most important of the demands that you made?
One, they are all equal.
They have one, yeah, they have to have them all.
But I honestly feel that the one that is regarding the accreditation is more important because as far as our accreditation, majority of the schools don't accept schools that do not provide accreditation as well. So after high school, we basically won't have anything else to depend on because we won't be able to go to college due to the lack of accreditation in our schools.
And even with the students who have talked to their admissions counselors for their colleges who say they won't be affected, what about everybody else behind us? Although there are a lot of seniors up here, we also have a lot of juniors and sophomores and freshmen, even a second grader up here. What about them? It's not just all about the seniors, it's about us as a group. What about everybody to follow us? What are they going to do?
Think that clarifies that?
Yes,
What are some things that will be on your list when you meet with Commissioner King?
the same exact demands.
Questions, comments?
Yes.
So if the school does lose accreditation, then what?
Can you repeat that, please?
I didn't hear you.
If the school district was to lose accreditation, that would affect our futures at a very negative rate because as we've been stating through this whole conference that the reason we're trying to overturn the decision of losing accreditation is so we won't have to repeat a year of high school or a year of any grade, which we've worked hard for because, like I said, I don't feel that you should place everyone in a place everyone in the percentage over some students. You should look at everyone individually or look at every school individually and see who really is trying to do something and not just classify everyone as the same type of person.
And I feel that if we did lose accreditation, many students would drop out because it's basically you're going to school for nothing, and that we would feel so mistreated. How we are learning the same thing that's in some school districts, we're learning the same textbook, same test, but we are going to school with no accreditation, and they're going to school with accreditation.
And
That is
also-
another question for Mayor Slade.
Yes.
And also, the purpose of the St. Louis Public Schools is to come up with or create or produce students who will be successful in life. How can we be successful if we can't go to the colleges of our choice? How can we be successful if we can't go off to study the things that we want to become? We were always told when we were young, you can be anything when you grow up. So why when we grow up, now we can't do anything after they take away our accreditation?
And again, it would be another good lesson learned of just how fair that this world we live in is. That's all I have to say about that.
How many of you seniors actually
anytime you walk out and go on vacation, I mean, you know there's a gang of students inside of your lobby worrying and wanting to talk to you. You got to be a pretty covered man.
It shows how much you care about the issues at hand too.
The needs of us are immediate. We need them to be done now. If he's coming back from vacation on Wednesday, the day before the final decision is made, how is he supposed to hear us out? How is he supposed to do anything about it? We don't have time for him to go on vacation. We're supposed to be on vacation too. We're on spring break. We don't have time for a vacation because we have to fight this. He has time for a vacation, but we do not.
And like we stated earlier, he doesn't have any children in the St. Louis Public School District. And I'm sure if he did, he would take it a lot more seriously and be a lot more concerned.
Do you think that perhaps the students could have been more effective if you had targeted the people who are actually going to be making the decision?
Mayor Slade does have a big effect in the decision.
Mayor Slade is our representative. He's how we get what our insight, and he's how we get to Jefferson City, or he's how we get to the decision makers.
He chose to poke his head into the Destiny program, so.
The mayor has also inserted himself into the situation by going to Jefferson City and asking for a state takeover.
Ma'am, that is a wonderful idea, but everyone who is deciding the takeover lives other places. No one lives remotely close to St. Louis. How are they going to understand what's going on when all they're reading are reports that are biased, that have slanted numbers? How is that helping us? This is the best we can do right now.
When we had the previous meeting in Jefferson City, before we even arrived, before the students got there to voice their opinion, they had already made their decision about what they wanted to do. How fair was that? They didn't even take the time to listen to the people who will be affected. It's us, the students, whose schools accreditation will be lost. It's not theirs, it's ours. They're out of school, they have their education, they don't care about our future, they already have their future, what about us?
And you know what? Honestly, I feel they didn't expect us as the students to step up and try to get our voices heard, so they wasn't prepared for that.
These are public institutions. Why is it a private vote?
Did any of you go to the public hearing or sign petitions or letters or email or call Destiny and the Missouri State Board of Education?
Oh, yeah.
How many of you did that? So you tried to get your voices heard before, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I'm
How
pretty,
did they respond?
They didn't listen.
We can get into
I'm pretty sure if Clayton and LaDue wanted to talk to their mayor, they would not have to sleep on the floor for about 4 nights and restrain from taking showers.
It was paid for.
Yes, a number of things was changed. We actually got Destiny to print out a news release, and we actually got the mayor to give us an apology letter as well. So we did get a lot. We got much accomplished.
Basically, what happened was that we got them to do their job.
Again.
We also influenced others that were in Sacramento, I believe, and they told us that we were actually fighting for everyone around the world because we are in the same situation as other kids around this entire world, and basically what we were doing is basically voicing our opinion and voicing for everyone else.